don't need a rock in the quarter, Jamie.
Oh,
lots
yeah. We all have those moments, though, don't we? We all have those moments where we go, did I get it right? Just in life.
Human.
Wow. That went into a rabbit hole.
We were just living some of those moments.
Sorry, oh, there's a camera.
Oh, you will get you a tipple later.
Breakfast. We do existential angst.
We're just sitting in the moment, Jamie.
Don't go into the moment as you're doing the weather. As you war.
No, do it. I want to see it.
I'm focused.
Go.
I'm ready to go. There's actually quite a bit going on today. There's some severe weather.
Thank you so much for being with Breakfast. It's 20 minutes to 9. Our next guest is a Kiwi artist building an impressive portfolio overseas. Elvis Barlow-Smith has created artwork for a number of musicians, and more recently he's designed tour posters for a band those of you definitely at home would have heard of, the Rolling Stones. Oh yeah, those guys. We're very pleased to welcome Elvis onto the show, who's joining us from his home in Los Angeles. Morning, Elvis. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, mate, thank you for joining us. Damn! How did you land this gig?
I was just lucky enough to meet somebody in the right business, really.
Well, and so that's literally how it happened, right? So you're creating tour posters for Mick Jagger and his mates, right?
Yep. Well, I've done a few, yeah.
Yeah. So what does that involve, Elvis?
In terms of the process of
Yep.
making them, or it can be pretty rushed sometimes. I think I created one of the posters in a day, and the other one I had about a week to do it. But yeah, these ones were like city-specific posters for the Rolling Stones tour.
So how did you come up, within that process, how did you come up with the artwork, with, what's the word I'm looking for, with what it looked like?
I basically, like I said, they're like city-specific posters.
Okay.
And so I kind of needed something for the LA one. I did like a sort of a retro kind of Hollywood sign. And I basically, just had a few ideas that I put forward to the team, and then they chose one of the themes, basically.
Wicked. Hey, Elvis, give us a little bit of a tour of your life so far. Where did you grow up, and how did you actually end up in LA?
I grew up in the west coast of South Island, and then I ended up moving to Wellington and spent a bunch of time in Australia, Europe, and then more recently was living in New York and kind of just got out here to LA.
How much of an influence are Mum and Dad on your artistic side, I guess?
Well, pretty big. I mean, I think my mum used to do like landscape, like weavings, basically, with like a big loom. Oh. And my dad is like a painter. So yeah, I think that definitely influenced me.
So you've obviously travelled a little bit around the world. So in different places, what was the work that you were doing in the different places? You know, you talk about being in New York. Obviously, you're in LA now. So what took you to those places?
I think I've always wanted to. I think it's always been a bit of a dream to live in New York, for one. Mm-hmm. But I think just difference, just something new, change, really.
How did album covers become your thing?
I was kind of influenced by a friend of mine, Leif Podolsky, who did like the Tame Impala in a speaker cover. And I was like, oh, okay, he did that. Maybe I can do that. And so I kind of like slowly over time just got into doing that.
I love it. You've obviously hit the big time with these guys. So let's go back a little bit. Who was your first musician client, and how did that come about?
I moved to Barcelona in 2015 with my partner, and when I got there, I sort of just decided that someone got in touch with me from Australia to do gig flyers, kind of like rave posters, basically. And I started doing them by hand, and then after that, I was like, I gotta do this on the computer. I can't do this by hand anymore. So that's basically where I started. But yeah, I did a poster a week for about a year, and that really helped me sort of progress in terms of graphic art.
So Rolling Stones, is your mahi complete with those guys?
Not yet, but I mean, I don't know how much further up it can go.
No.
There's one more poster to come up
Yeah.
for Austin. Yeah.
What's the ultimate for you? I mean, working with the Rolling Stones is pretty awesome, but what would be the ultimate?
I just missed out on a job by this sort of famous sort of house music producer, and I was really kind of crushed to not have done that. But I think just more album artwork is really the goal.
Elvis, did you actually get to meet these guys?
No, I didn't meet them, but I do know that I think Mick kind of looks at all the artwork before it's approved, so he kind of gives it the thumbs up before that's done, which is kind of cool to think about.
That is very cool. So are you, Elvis. Hey, well done, mate. Congratulations. Keep on, keep it on. Thank you so much for being with us this morning from LA. Elvis Barlow Smith, famous Kiwi artist. Thanks, mate.
Thanks so much. Nice to meet you.
Beautiful man.
Yeah, nice
Beautiful
manners.
man.
Nice to meet you, Jenny,
Yeah.
mate. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
And coming up on breakfast, the tourism industry's